the influx of players for Ultimate. But here, Long Island loves doubles. We're popping off week after week after week.
That's a big stop. And, doubles, the reason why I have a trouble with it is because, first off, I don't like that you can pick two of the same character on a team. I'm not very fond of that. But it's also just, I will say this, though. The friendly fire aspect of it, I like. It makes it much more competitive. It makes it much more strategic, planned out, execution-based. And that's what I really like about doubles. But obviously, it will never overtake the singles champion ring.
Absolutely.
As what we are here watching that right now.
So up to the bat, we have Lucius on the left and Bartender on the right. Bartender actually being another one of the members of Gen Game. And Lucius being one of Long Island's premier rivals and Aether players, who used to be a member of the Smash scene back when Smash 4 was like the main bread and butter. Took a bit of a leave of absence. And is now back for Ultimate.
Beautiful.
And he is one of our premier Yoshis. Now, you've probably noticed a lot of Yoshi here on Long Island. The character, generally speaking, isn't very popular or like super good. But when it comes to this region, we have the most, we have the best.
Yes, Suarez holds down that one.
Absolutely.
As he's sitting there on the Yoshi, one of the premier Long Island. Where is he from, actually? He's from what?
Suarez is from Long Island.
Oh, he is? Okay.
Yes.
All right, so, yeah, and like you said, but however, you said character not that good. I mean, dangerous. Dangerous is the word.
That is a perfect word for him.
Dangerous. So much priority on all of his attacks, massive hit boxes, and just that alone, not to mention the amount of damage he does, and his ability to guard the ledge is just phenomenal.
These are all absolutely true. And we already see that right out the bat from Lucius, firing away on Bartender. But you can't count him out just yet. DK is a very similar character in that he's got a lot of large hitboxes, he's got plenty of kill potential, and on a stage like Yoshi's Story, DK has no issue with taking up a ton of space and occupying that, either being ready to punish a poor landing, which happens to be one of Yoshi's weaker traits, or is just ready to put some move right in his path.
The thing that's so devastating is that, we're watching, what's the weight class of Yoshi in this game? Is he considered light?
Yoshi's weird in that he's actually on the heavier end of things, but he's a bit floaty. He's known mostly for having a really good jump, and then his flutter jump, which that second jump where he waves his arms, which has armor on it. That keeps him hypermobile in the air. And on top of that, having some of the best air mobility in the game, you're going to see Yoshi floating around where I wouldn't blame you for thinking that he's on the lighter end of things.
Yeah, and it's just his movement is spectacular. Like you said, he's able to throw projectiles and use a get-back game. I mean, that's pretty ridiculous. As we're seeing right now, Lucius 3-1 on Bartender, and Donkey Kong, who's been regarded, at least by most, as probably the best heavy in the game.
Yeah,
at least yet now.
Yeah, there's a lot of good aspects of Donkey Kong, especially when this character gets, when he really gets going, he can hold down neutral very well, but Yoshi is one of those matchups where he struggles just because Yoshi is very fast, always able to interrupt a lot of what Donkey Kong's main game plan for getting in is, and then of course a stray hitbox can start a combo or can end a stock in terms of Yoshi going in on Donkey Kong.
5 minutes remaining in this one. Ooh, and a big, Jesus, that was Lucius walking away with the first game. Extremely easy. Bartender gonna have to make a little bit of an adjustment here if he wants to climb back into this one.
I told you, man, you can't sleep on these Yoshis.
No. And it's funny because they probably passively train each other, being all from a lot of the same region.
They play each other often. They watch each other's successes. They see how they all have little different traits amongst their play styles, but they all know what works with the character. And they're really pushing the meta forward when it comes to this character because, the three of them training against each other in a relatively difficult to fight in region. It leads to a lot of success. But now we're gonna have to see it against a bit of a more interesting character now. Me Sword Fighter, which this character
don't see often.
Hilarious. So this character was previously regarded as bar none the worst character in Smash for Wii U. But a couple of changes to his moves, as well as the standardized height and weight of the character, allowed a lot of TOs to say, "Go ahead, play whatever me you want with whatever moves you want."
Okay.
And because of that, people figured out a few quirks of his projectiles in his kit that allowed him to be played in a way that you wouldn't really expect. Yes, he's called the Sword Fighter, but he sees a lot of his success through the use of the Gale Tornado and the Chakram, two projectiles that allow him to hold a ton of space and confirm kills, and that's the most important part of the kit.
And I mean, we don't find out what it is because for some reason Nintendo keeps their patches under wraps. But he was one of the characters that was quote unquote patched did they ever find out exactly what was patched with that character?
In the most recent update, I'm not too certain myself, but you're going to need an emergency patch to bring back that sword fighter.
No, and then this is the problem, right? And it happens all the time. Yoshi winds up getting ahead on you, and not only is he heavier to knock out, as we're seeing him at 137%, and he'll finally take the loss there, but he's able to put on 43 onto Bartender before getting eliminated, and that's just going to help him so much leading into the second stock.
Yeah, one of the things that makes Yoshi so oppressive is the fact that, like, if he gets his one hit on you, he can extend that to at least 4 or 5 more. So you have to be careful about how you approach on him. He does leave enough openings for you to have, like, a proper punish game against him, and most characters can exploit that, but letting him in is just so dangerous.
Right, exactly, and has combo potential, so much pressure, and the fact that he's just so dangerous from being airborne, which not a lot of characters have that ability. The sword characters, I would say, do, but Yoshi being one of those ones that just can take advantage of it, as we're seeing both of these players really battle it out on the second stock.
Yeah, the sword fighter switch working out really well for Bartender right now. He's holding down the percentage very similarly. And I think more importantly, he's being able to keep Lucius at bay. Through the use of his own projectiles, he's not giving Lucius enough time to come in and secure his kills. And now we're starting to see that aspect of Yoshi where, yeah, he's got no issue with getting the damage on, but he's got to wait for the time to get the kill, and he's going to be able to do that, leaving Bartender on potentially his last stock for this set.
See, one of the things I've always liked to say is, and Yoshi has a lot of skill and is definitely up there in the tier list as well. However, he's a premier, not a scrub buster, but if you're not a blocker and you can't hold him at honest the entire time and block and punish his game, much like K. Rool, you're going to get walked on real quick.
I completely agree.
We're seeing both these players battle it out. Lucius sitting with one set ahead of Bartender. Bartender faring much better this time around, as it was kind of a stomping last one with DK, but maybe we're seeing Lucius not as familiar with the sword fighter.
That's also another factor to consider, is that sword fighter did not see a lot of use prior to Ultimate, and even at that, there's only a couple of sword fighter players in, I would say, barely in Long Island, let alone the tri-state area.
Sure.
It's not a popular character, but it is one that's seeing a bit more usage just from being meta relevant in that he could do his game, he could reset to neutral, and he can keep doing that. Just keep on forcing a decent enough projectile game where characters have to respect it.
Absolutely. And so what's the deal? You pick the move. Oh boy. And that's just Yoshi. I mean, straight up the priority on the tail there, setting him up and away. Raby's alongside Hangman here at AON Gaming, and so you could pick the moveset with the Mii sword fighter and all those.
Yeah. So the way it works is like you go to make the Mii,
right,
and then you choose their class, either brawler, sword fighter, or gunner.
Okay.
And they all have different moves that are based off of characters of that class. Like for instance, sword fighter's got a lot of stuff that has to do with Link, has to do with Marth, has to do with Roy, so on and so forth.
Right.
Their normals stay the same. So like you can't change their jab, their smashes, and whatnot, but you can change their special moves. And that's where it gets interesting. So for sword fighter, he doesn't naturally come with the chakram. His side B, I think, is some sort of, I forget what its name is, but he like rushes forward with his sword.
Okay.